Welcome to the 12 Talk podcast. My name is Josh, and unlike usual, my podcasting partner in crime, my co-host Mitch, isn't here because he is venturing off into that there London town with his lovely other half to go and watch the Women's Rugby World Cup final, in which England are in against Canada. So we've drafted in some help, as you can probably see above me, and if you've seen any of our social media, we've got Dom Ainley, who is a Seahawks fan who hosts In the End Zone UK. He's going to be joining me on the podcast as my co-host today. We're going to be talking all about the Cardinals game, that twitchy bum win. We're going to have our highlights. We're going to have our winners and losers. And I think Dom and I will both have something to say about one of the losers, because anyone who's watched this pod will know who mine will be. But we'll bring him in as soon as this intro is finished. I forgot, mate. You made it into the intro as well.
I know. I saw my own
You're
face.
in the new intro.
Like, there we go.
Well, Dom, welcome back. You've been on before, and I couldn't think of a better person to have on to co-host this with me in Mitch's stead. How are you doing, dude?
I'm very well, thank you, Josh, and thanks for having me. I know I was supposed to be on the post-Saints pod, and things got a bit mixed up, but you know what? I'm actually happier that I'm on for the divisional rivalry pod of the Cardinals. It's a good one that I want to talk about. So no, thank you for having me on.
No, absolute pleasure. It's always great talking to you about Seahawks, because you don't get the chance really on In
No.
the End Zone UK. I listen to your pod every single time it comes out. I wait for your social media post to say it's out, and I'm like, right, that's me in the car or me in my office. And it's obviously you've got to talk with the guys about the Titans, the Packers, and everything else.
All teams. All teams. We cover everything, and you know what? It's one of those classic, probably overcompensations where I don't talk about the Seahawks, as much as I would maybe even like the Steelers, for heaven's sake. I'm always just ready to unleash all of the things that I want to say to the world about the Seahawks. But the guys always keep me a little bit wrapped up. I had a little bit of a rant on one of my previous last podcasts because the boys came at the Seahawks a little bit, and I was like, I'm ready to go, but I thought I'll be on here soon, so I'll wait until then.
I genuinely, the one where you did, when you messaged me and went, listen to this, I did stick up for the Seahawks a bit. I was in my car and I heard it. I was waiting for it. I could feel it brewing. And then as soon as it came up, I was just like, go on, Dom. Yeah. Let's get you on the pod.
I could have gone harder. I could have gone harder, but yeah.
You could have gone harder, but you don't need to, because you're on here now.
Exactly.
So for anyone who doesn't listen to In the End Zone UK, I mean, Dom, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So this podcast that we've been doing for many years now, in our fourth season, I think, In the End Zone UK is all over Spotify, Apple Music, Audible, Amazon Music, anywhere you can get it. It's on all of the podcast channels as well. At In the End Zone UK on Instagram or X, and Instagram's my platform. Really, it's where I kick everything out.
That's where you thrive.
Yeah, it's my wheelhouse. I can't say I'm a TikToker or anything like that yet, albeit I should get with the times. But for the moment, no, we're really enjoying the season so far. We've been putting out one a week. We'd finished our division dives towards the end of the season, which are still getting listened to now, because I think people are just trying to get that next gen on the teams coming through. Yeah. But it's been a really, really good season so far, and obviously Seahawks 3-1. I'm very happy right now. There's lots of room for improvement, but I'm very happy, and this is the podcast that I get to express all that happiness as opposed to have to keep it contained on it In the End Zone UK.
Exactly, and as it's a Friday, you and I chatted before. We're going to have a beer.
I've got a cheeky beer.
There you go.
Why not?
And we're going to talk some Seahawks. So this game, obviously we came off the back of an enormous Saints win. What we'll do first, actually, let's just refresh our memory. So we'll go through the box score quickly, but before we do that, I just want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Flying V Vintage Sports Clothing. They've currently got this much Seahawks stuff in because everything else has gone.
That's
And
so
they're going to
popular.
keep trying to get more in. And if you want to go and shop with them, their link is in the description below. When you do go and shop, use our code 12Talk to get 20% off your order. Can't say fairer than that. I just got a nice
Can't.
pair of Seahawks jogging bottoms from them.
Love
They're
that.
very, very comfy. And I now get to go out in my local town adorned head to toe in Seahawks gear.
I mean, when are we not? This is one of the new salute to service tops. It
I like
actually
it.
arrived today. It's really nice, really nice. Not to steer away from Flying V. They're the vintage ones. But if you want something brand new, this is lovely. It's nice stitch patch and the salute to service thing. I'm happy about that. Very happy about it.
Don't tempt me. I'm still in two minds as to whether or not to get a rivalries jersey.
Mine's on the way.
Yeah, I know. You told me. I'm going
I'll
to
wait until I've got it.
I'll wait until I see one in the flesh because I'm in Tottenham next week, and then the pod we're all going to watch the Rams game as well.
Oh,
and if
amazing.
I see one there, I'm just going to go up to someone, and if you don't know who I am, and I come up to you and just start staring at your jersey and stroking it, that's because I'm just checking it out. All right.
Yeah.
So don't file a police report. But let's have a quick look over. So the game ended with a really twitchy bum, 23-20. A last second field goal from J-My. Quick look at the scoring. So in the first quarter, Seahawks led 7-3 it started with a field goal from Ryland, then that TD from Barner. Second quarter, 7-0 with the TD from Chardonnay. And then in the second half, that's where people's legs started going and bums started twitching. 3-3 with a field goal from Myers and Ryland. And then fourth quarter, 6-14 field goal from Myers, TD from Harrison Jr., TD from DeMarcado, that household name, and then the field goal from Myers to finish that game off. So we're going to get into our normal subtopics as well. But what were your thoughts on that game in general?
Oh man, when you break it down like that and you're looking at sort of like the scoring between the quarters and stuff. I mean, I got up and watched this, guys. I'm one of those crazy boys that gets up in the middle of the night to watch the Seahawks. But I got up and was zombieing my way through life. But whilst watching it, they really brought me up. But when you look at that breakdown of the scoring, like we controlled that game, but watching it live, we didn't. Like it didn't ever feel like we totally had like a stranglehold on it, albeit in principle we did up until like some really, really poor errors towards the end of the fourth quarter. But I think, overall it was squeaky bum time, as you said. It shouldn't have been. We were the dominant team. We were the better team by far. When you watch the game narrative, it just felt like we were semi in control, but just couldn't find that final nail in the
extra
coffin.
Gear. That's
yeah. Well, we did find it.
Was
actually.
watching it.
We did find it. Sorry, we did find it when Charbonnet ran the touchdown in, and it got pulled back for a holding call, and maybe we'll get to that a bit later on. But that wound me up because that was the nail that we needed, and it was brought back. And I echo JSN's comments to the referee. No matter how much of a stern dad look the referee wants to give JSN. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, that was a touchdown and that would have buried the game. So the Cardinals were very, very fortunate. And we'll talk about how fortunate a bit later, but they were very fortunate to be in any kind of position to make this close.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's joining us and leaving their comments. Please carry on. Jonas, thanks for joining us. Josh, what are you doing with your beer? It's clearly a hold.
Very good.
So I'm not playing the Buffalo rule. I'm drinking right-handed tonight. I genuinely because I didn't stay up to watch the game last night because I had a massive day at work today, but I watched it today. And as much as I think in that first half we snubbed out any chance of the Cardinals looking like an effective offensive team, there just seemed to be something missing. I wanted more. I think the BS call for JSN's holding, I think that was, I don't know if that did something to us sort of mentally, because we had a lot of it with the Saints where there were just like pity flags being thrown, and I wasn't sure if that's going to be a narrative for the season where we start looking so dominant, especially on defense.
Yeah, they were pity flags. There was. I mean, I'm not saying that some of the flags weren't appropriate, the PIs and whatnot, but they were pity flags, and equally there was like almost pity situations within the game, and we created some of those ourselves by maybe just being a bit too nonchalant. But yeah, there was so much of that, Josh, that it did feel like that there was an air of just sort of oh, poor Cardinals, and you can never be like that in the NFL, and neither should the referees be.
No.
Because no game's ever over, as we saw. Like I went from I was in bed watching it at whatever time it was, and I was like, yeah, we've got this one wrapped up, albeit it's not been a total, easy street. And then all of a sudden the tide sort of semi turned, and I was like, don't make my heart do this at this time in the morning. Like you had me nice and cool and calm, Seahawks. Don't now put me into a cardiac arrest at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's the Seahawks, so of course they did.
Seahawks football. It's like
exactly.
Even though Pete Carroll's not here, we still find a way to have Pete Carroll games, and it's one of those. I quite enjoy going to bed with a smile on my face, with a weight lifted off my shoulders, where I go, "What a win! What a game!" I didn't scream at my TV once or threaten to throw anything out of a window. But I can imagine if I watched that last night live, I would have been laid in my bed, eyes wide open, just reminiscing over the calls, the missed opportunities, a player we're going to talk about later as well, who everyone who's a frequent watcher of this will know who I'm on about. His number's already been mentioned in the comments. But yeah, I think this is a kind of game that we needed after a massive blowout victory, to be able to win these ones so close, even though we have these lapses where they come back and score 2 TDs late and tie it up. I think when we get to that final second, and obviously we'll talk about our highlights of the game as well and what led to that, but being able to put the game on ice at that time was absolutely amazing.
It was, yeah. Credit to the entire team, the way they operated in that last 30 seconds for sure. Yeah, I mean, I would say, and we are going to get to highlights and whatnot, and this, I guess this isn't in my highlights, but it's really difficult to defend a team that's desperate. And I don't know, how many times I've said this on my podcast, but like a lot of teams find themselves in a position where they've dominated a game, and then teams come rocketing back, because ultimately it's so hard to play a team that, not only if you're going into a game with nothing to lose, that's pretty hard, but if you're finishing a game with literally almost nothing to lose, it's so hard to defend against a team like that. Same principle, if anybody plays Madden, when I play Madden on the PlayStation 5, if you end up finding yourself being destroyed, there's some like air of just relief when you're playing with absolutely nothing to lose.
Just 4 verts.
Yeah, 4 verts. Big plays come off. But that is the, you have to play it that way. I'm not saying to the Cardinals you shouldn't be going to try and win that game. You absolutely should. But it is such a difficult place to be for a defense, and that's all I'll say in sort of like protection of our team, and particularly somebody in our secondary, is that when you're in that position, it is a very hard, you're rocking a hard place. You've got to cover the deep ball, but you've also got to, you've got to try to make it competitive. It's very difficult to take on a team that is in desperation mode. And the Cardinals were, like, let's be honest, like I was watching this, and even more so live, like I've rewatched the game in 40, obviously, and it doesn't quite show, like there were some real slumps in this game where the Cardinals had zero steam. None whatsoever. I'm not saying we were firing on all cylinders by any means, but we were in control, and it just felt like they were dead in the water. And then little things, pity flags, and situational football that shouldn't have necessarily been in place. And all of a sudden, you find yourself, one score down, and then it's the life's back in the stadium. And yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to, when you're that dominant. It's sort of similar with the Saints, but I loved what we did against the Saints. We buried them, and they didn't have enough to even strive to come back. But it's because
like foot to the throat against the Saints. We found that weak point, and we just carried on hammering it. That's one thing that I'm loving about a Kubiak offense at the moment, where he'll find that weak spot and he will just keep going to it. When we had Grubb last year, you had like these matchups where DK was he was obviously outmatched, or he was outmatched against his cornerback, and you could have thrown the ball every single time.
Yeah,
Grubb did it twice and was like, "I've got his number. Let's go somewhere else." And you're like,
yeah. No, keep doing
We
it. It
could have
works.
blown them out by 50 points, but no, you keep
Yeah,
like passing it to someone else on like a short
yeah,
slant or a tight in. I
mm,
mean, I think it's what's indicative of the fact that the Cardinals were in panic, must-win mode. They had 41 pass attempts
yeah.
last night,
Ridiculous, isn't
and
it? Yeah.
then they connected on 27. Conversely, we had 26 pass attempts
Love to see
and
it.
converted on
Love to see
18.
it. Love to see it. It's all you need. It's all you need to win a game if you're operating at that level. But yeah, that's Dak Prescott numbers. That is like for some reason Dak Prescott has 57 million attempts a week and 500 yards, and it's like
Because he's got no
that's
running back.
amazing. And it's like no, he's got no running back, and they're always trailing. Like
Yeah.
that's it's padded stats. It's not legitimate football, and Sammy D's playing legitimate football right now.
Well, the name of this is Sam Darnold, MVP. Like he's
Yeah.
playing, and we're going to be completely biased on this because we are Seahawks fans. But he is playing an elite level within this offense. He's not being asked to do too much. His rollouts are superb. I said on the pod last week, his confidence to roll out to the left with Zabel and Cross there offering that protection is so nice to see. And then obviously you had the rollout yesterday to the right where he found Arroyo when we were in our 10.
Yeah.
And for him to have that confidence,
Being
he has
covered
some nice
by
escapes.
Josh Sweat.
Yeah, Josh Sweat, who looked completely lost as soon as Arroyo started running. He
Yeah.
just sort of went, "Oh no,
Yeah.
all right, I best go." But it was so nice to see, and seeing Darnold having been chastised so much in his early career to now be able to come back in and do what he's doing, it is a thing of beauty. There was a guy commented on our TikTok earlier about Sam Darnold and how good he's been and how much they miss him and they really hope the best for him. And I'm like, you know what? That is the sign of someone who appreciates what a player has done. I was watching a video earlier. I think it might have been Colin Cowherd talking about sometimes elite level players cannot rescue a dumpster fire team.
I watched the same thing.
So went to the Jets and then the Panthers. There's no rescuing them.
No.
Backed up at the 49ers, went to Minnesota. He got his shot because McCarthy got injured and he excelled. He showed what he can do in a good scheme with good players and a good organization. Now he's come here and he's got the exact same, if not more. He's playing with a young team that are hungry with a young, hungry head coach.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the MVP stuff gets me sweating because I'm like, I don't dare whisper those words into the ether at the moment because
it was tongue in cheek. It's tongue in cheek.
I just don't even dare do it tongue in cheek because I just think as soon as that leaves my mouth, that's out there, and then things can unravel and everyone can point the finger at me. I don't want that. But
that's fine.
I think
it's me instead.
Yeah, in principle, and just looking at the play so far this year and stats, it's hard to argue. He's not doing anything particularly flash, although his roll to the rights and passing on the move is spectacular. I think really underrated and underappreciated. I guess not many quarterbacks can do that. He is one of them, and that just plays into his wheelhouse, which I love. What Clint's doing, playing into Sam's wheelhouse. But I think he's playing very efficient football, and I think does efficiency win you MVPs? We'll have to see, but he's definitely operating to the level that I want.
Let's not go too far into it because you've got him down as one of your winners, and I realise we've just gone on that tangent, so we'll wait for that.
Okay.
Instead, shall we go to our highlights? As you are,
let's do that.
Well, technically not a guest because you're a returning guest and you are a co-host tonight, but let's go with yours first. Give me your highlights. So give us your top two.
Okay, my first one is the touchdown pass that he threw to AJ Barner, just to sort of kick the scoring off. Now, if nothing else, the highlight is because it was such a pretty pass. Yeah. It was such as a receiver, that's the exact pass you want to receive. As a quarterback, the rollout, the timing, he just waited for him to find the edge of his route, and the defense were lost. He had plenty of space, don't get me wrong. It wasn't a particularly contested catch, but it's because it was a dot just up and down. Like when I saw it happen live, I was like, I to myself just said, what a pass, you know, like, because that's what it was. It was up and down. It was sleek. It would have, if I could have been close enough, I reckon that pass would have like whistled, but like a nice little, you know, like it would have just whistled into his arms. And I just love the fact that it was AJ Barner because, you know, underrated, like, you know, he's a couple of tuddies. People aren't expecting big things, but break out, land in your hands, blocking tight end. But you know, if you watch his college tape, you could see, yes, mainly, you know, he was a blocker, but he could receive. And we know, even from the draft last year, we knew that he had that opportunity to break out. And I'm just happy that he's a multifaceted player that we can rely on to do both things. And yeah, for me, it was the opening score to get a touchdown on the board, the perfection of the pass, the pocket presence, the rollout, the touch on the ball, the fact that AJ Barner was the one to carry it over, and it's just, you know, it makes every skill position player on our offense a potential scoring weapon. You know, any of them can find the house, and I think that whilst a lot of teams could probably say the same, they're not doing it. And we're doing it. You know, JSN can find the house. He can find the house. Arroyo looks like he might be able to very, very soon. It's Torrey Horton, obviously. Like, you know, we've got seemingly so many options. So that was my highlight, Josh. I was so happy that we opened up. You know, because of what happened first. You know, the stop on fourth down, that wasn't pretty. Wasn't a particular fan of, you know, what we did there. But yeah, getting the first touchdown was a big win for us, big start to that game.
Yeah, 100%. And we have to give AJ Barner his full title on this pod. It's Mitch's boy, AJ Barner, because he called that as a draft pick. But I think, like you said, the fact that he's come in and everyone thinks he's a blocking tight end, and he has just shown so much swagger as a player. Like, he's leading that tight end room. When you've got a vet in there like Sobert, I can never get his name. Sobert, there we go. But when you've got a vet in there like that, who is predominantly now the blocking tight end, and you've got AJ Barner, who is a legitimate receiving threat. Like, he came out after the game and said, you know, I feel like I am a matchup nightmare for anyone in the red zone, and he proves it every time he's in there.
He's a big boy, isn't he?
He's a big boy. He's become a very reliable target. And, you know, he plays with that, I don't want to say chip on his shoulder, because that's very Pete Carroll, old Seahawks, but he's just got that swagger about him where he will get in someone's face. He will rip a ball out of the sky if he needs to. And yeah, it was absolutely brilliant to see. I love a bit of AJ Barner. Good. And it was what kicked off this whole sort of when you saw the drive leading up to that as well, and from Sam Darnold, I don't want to talk about him too much because we'll get onto him in a bit, but that whole drive, he was lasering some passes into double coverage. You know, he showed a full weight of his passing, and then that, like I said, just a perfect dot, lovely arc on the ball, straight there where he needed it, and it was
beautiful.
It was a thing of beauty.
It was a literal thing of beauty, Josh.
It was, mate. Go on. What was your next one?
My next one. So this is probably going to open up a bit more of a conversation piece because it's a bit of a weird one. So I really enjoyed the Kobe Bryant pick of Kyler Murray because, I mean, there was many reasons as to why it happened. The receiver fell off his route, just gave up. The ball sailed. But what I love, number one, Kobe Bryant is playing lights out. And again, a super underrated player. He's playing lights out. He's had to step in for Love being out and injured. Witherspoon, not necessarily want to talk about him too much on this podcast today, but generally speaking, he's an elite talent. He was out, and Kobe Bryant stepped up against the Saints. He was the hammer. He was the coverage guy. He was everything that we needed to be. And then we step into this game, and he gets probably the easiest pick of his life. So I'm not going to say like it was an amazing elite play. He just finds a way to be where he needs to be. He's where that ball is. He's like, I wouldn't call him a ball hawk. He's just like, he sort of sniffs out where he needs to be for that ball. It's not always in his mitts, but the fact that he got hold of it, amazing. The fact that he tried to return it, good effort. The fact that one of our own players ran into him and dislodged the ball, and then the turnover became a turnover, wrecked me.
So that one, I watched that. on replay multiple times. So people have chastised Tyrese Knight for it, but Tyrese Knight was coming back in for sort of blocking purposes. But it was the Cardinals center whose name I wrote down because it's an odd one. Vorholt.
Sounds German.
Vorholt, yeah, actually pushed Tyrese Knight.
Okay, so
behind.
Good play.
So do you know what? If Tyrese Knight had actually had his wits about him and seen him coming, would have been fine. But it was the fact Vorholt came in, pushed Tyrese Knight, who then landed into Kobe, which then dislodged it, caused the fumble. And there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, his knee was down, but he wasn't down by contact."
Yeah, exactly.
It was contact from his own player. None of the Cardinals players touched him, so all was live.
Yeah.
But Kobe Bryant, I think, and I've said this for a long time, when we drafted him as a cornerback, he was never made to be an elite cornerback in the league because he hasn't got that first step quickness to keep up with elite wide receivers. However, moving into safety gives him a bit more time to diagnose what's going on. It then allows him to make plays like this because he still thinks like a cornerback of how can I get in front of this route?
Yeah.
And he makes these interceptions because that's what 2 interceptions against Kyler Murray in 2 years.
Yeah.
Isn't it? He loves playing Kyler.
He's found a way. He does, and that's because Kyler loves to sling it. And he's easy to read, is Kyler.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I think from somebody who's never played a moment of actual football, but I feel like I can read Kyler Murray's eyes most of the time. It's I think for Kobe, he's also not shy of making a tackle either, and that's a big thing.
He loves to lay the boom.
Yeah, he does. He does like to drop the hammer whenever possible. He's not the biggest of guys, but yeah, I just think that there's a learning in there that Mike Mack needs to really quickly enforce. A turnover is one of the most important things in football. Don't try and house it. We're not all Tory Horton. We can't all find our way to the house from 90 yards out. As soon as you see any kind of cluster of people, just go down. Like I get the attempt, and I get that it's tempting to try and get that tuddy, but I would always err on the side of caution when you've intercepted. I don't mean immediately hit the ground like a wimp.
Yeah, but as soon as you see people converging on, you just go, I'll take this.
You're not on offense for a reason. Let's keep that ball. Let's keep that ball tight. Let's get 2 hands on it. Let's clutch it to the chest. Let's make sure it doesn't get dislodged. And he didn't do any of that. So I mean, I'm looking at it as a positive because I felt like that unnerved the Cardinals. That whole thing, they were like, "Woof, we got away with one." But obviously we picked him off again, and we demolished them on defense. Like we made Kyler Murray's night, generally speaking, a nightmare, and it was amazing to watch. But yeah, Kobe Bryant needs to get his flowers, and as do most of the secondary.
Mm-hmm. The back end secondary, I completely agree. But what you just said leads me perfectly, and a comment from Jonas into one of my highlights.
Okay.
So Jonas, EJ and Kobe both had an interception at Glendale, just like the game there last year.
Wow. Deja vu.
It is. And that brings me to my highlight, which was one of my highlights, which was the EJ interception. So it was pure heads-up play, keeping his eye on the ball. There was the tackle from Drake Thomas, who I thought had an outstanding game.
Really good game,
yeah. Who I'll be talking about later. And it was tackle from him that dislodged the ball that you then saw Ernest Jones just capitalize on. As soon as that ball was free, he took it straight into his breadbasket. Yet there was no one was taking that ball away from him. And I thought that was such a fantastic heads-up play from this defense. It just shows the wherewithal just to keep your wits about you every time the ball's near you, not to just let a play die there and then. EJ came across after seeing that tackle, and then the ball popped up, and other linebackers may have just gone, right, I'm going to go in and help with the assist. But he saw that ball pop up and just took it in both hands, and it was a fantastic play. I love seeing that. Ernest Jones, I don't think it can be overstated enough that he has been the main transformative effect on this defense.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree at all.
Before he got here last season, you saw what Mike Mack wanted to do. He didn't necessarily have all the pressures right. But then when EJ came in and was able to marshal the middle of that field and that secondary with Love, everything changed.
It did, yeah.
And it's exactly the same this year. We've just
Yeah.
carried on.
It
And
was the inheritance of some chess pieces that didn't suit the mold, wasn't it? The Bakers and the Dodsons that were just not fit for purpose. And then we got somebody who can actually, like you say, command the middle of that field. And EJ is, I mean, we keep saying it, and I think this is going to be a narrative until people learn otherwise, but underrated. You know, he's another linebacker that is massively underrated. I used to hate playing him against, when he was at the Rams. Because
he always did something.
He's always there. He's always there. And when you just said the wherewithal or the awareness, there was two other players I think converging on that ball when it kind of came out of Marvin Harrison Jr.'s hands, man. Poor boy. I didn't feel for him for a second in the game. I wanted him to drop every pass that he touched, but I felt
especially
for him I did want him to drop that. But I felt for him as a human being, because that boy's not having a good time in life at the moment, generally speaking. I'm sure he's loving all the money that he's got. But it's when you're a football player and that happens to you. But the wherewithal, the awareness for Ernest Jones to, like you say, there was two other players there. The play was probably over in his mind, but just into his hand, and then a better return than Kobe Bryant, and he's a linebacker. So,
well, I think he's making a bit of a name for himself, being in the right place at the right time that way. Talking about sort of your Bakers and your Dotsons, I still think this was a Mike Mack, when he signed, he said, I need these type of players. And that's when John Schneider went out and just got the best he could. When Mike Mack came in, started coaching, actually went, I need those type of players, but not those players.
Not those players.
So they went.
And I love that. Ruthless, wasn't it? He was just like,
they
don't work, get out. And I was like, love that.
Yeah, that's it. Less than half a season, you're gone.
Yeah.
Although with saying that, I think Dodson's having an all right season at Miami at the moment.
He's doing okay, but he's not doing the things that Ernest Jones is doing.
It's very, very rare that linebackers are at the moment.
Yeah.
So that was my highlight number one.
Love that. Great
highlight number two. I've gone to the offense. So you've had an offensive one and a defensive one. I am going for JSN's catch down the left sideline, where he fought to take that ball out of bounds for the Myers field goal. Honestly, that was such
smart.
Smart heads up play, where he knew exactly where he was catching that ball and where he needed to get to. And even though it had a player draped over him, he was determined to get to the sideline. That, in my opinion, was the play that won us the game.
Agreed. And what a play, what intelligence, what football IQ, what ability to be able to execute it. And I think that's JSN all over, though. I think that is literally JSN. Like, he's not the fastest, he's not the biggest, he's not the quickest. I mean, he might run some of the slickest routes. I will give him that credit, because he runs some slick ass routes. But that's just him. He's just an operator, and I think that will do him such a service to last so long in this league. He doesn't need to be as quick. He doesn't need to, he doesn't need those physical elements to dominate. He just dominates with his mind. And I saw him do that at Ohio State. Like he was just that guy.
Was it the Rose Bowl game with like 5 TDs? Was it the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was.
That
and he had like
just
300 yards or something ridiculous.
And it's all slick route running. This is where everyone who says you need that out and out X receiver as a field stretcher, you don't. You look at Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown not from torching people, from slick route running, from being just a great receiver and a reliable set of hands for his quarterback. That is what JSN is turning into.
Yeah, agreed.
Albeit possibly with a little bit more speed than Cooper Kupp. But now he gets to learn from Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. If JSN had like one more gear, he would be unstoppable. But we don't need him to have one more gear. We've got Torrey Horton. He's got the gears. He's got the wheels. But that was a great play, Josh. And like you say, without that, and without the reach for the out of bounds and the closeness to the touch line, we probably, I don't say we don't win that game, but we probably don't win it with a field goal.
No, and talking about Torrey Horton, I'll give some honourable mentions here. It's a double-edged sword. It's a low light because he dropped it because he was in double coverage. The what could have been a touchdown for him.
Yeah, yeah.
But a highlight in the fact that he got himself downfield in a fantastic position, and he was double covered.
Yeah.
So he's been double covered already, and we're 4 games into the season of his rookie campaign.
Yeah.
Now,
and he nearly came down with it.
Yeah, he was so close.
Yeah.
But when you look at that, and we were talking about the receiving threats in Barner, you've got JSN who's going to start, getting that type of coverage. Horton as well, when he's on the field, is getting that coverage. You've got the running backs that we've got, and obviously we'll talk about them in a bit. But then it's going to start opening things up for people like Cooper Kupp, Elijah Arroyo.
Yeah.
So Sobert might actually get some more ball as well. Yeah. It's just like this offense is so multifaceted in who's going to draw the attention of a defense that give it the bye week. Past that bye week, we're probably going to be looking at a target share for everyone and it being really successful in so much space that it's going to be so exciting to see. I can't wait for us to be the envy of the league in offense and defense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Josh, you're speaking all the things that I want to happen into existence, and so far it could absolutely come to pass. I think there are some elements that were challenging for us, no doubt, but that the way in which we're spreading out our receiving core is fantastic, and the way that Sam Darnold is feeding those is equally fantastic. I mean, it's been heavily loaded towards JSN, but as you say, the more that happens, the more everybody else gets open. So it's mind games by Clint Kubiak as well as
I love it.
Physical. Yeah.
I love the fact that we've got an OC who can play those mind games. He sequences drives really well. He gets the ball to different receivers in different positions. It's not all the same. Oh, you're going to run an in. You're going to run a post every single time. It's everyone's playing a different role in this receiving game, and you'll start seeing people put up numbers. And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Another honourable mention: we had 6 sacks this game.
Yeah. Defensive lines come to absolute
it's come to life.
Yeah. I was going to swear.
Well done for censoring.
Thank you very much. I swear on my podcast for the listeners on here, but I swear like a champion on my podcast. But on this one, I'm not allowed.
Keep it PG.
Many a fudge. But I think it's absolutely come to play. And again, it's amazing to see. We had Chenna Nwosu come back and get 2 sacks. Unbelievable. It's just, we are all consuming at the moment for offensive lines and for quarterbacks. And I know we've not played the best offensive lines over the last couple of weeks, but Kyler Murray is a difficult QB to sack. There is no two ways about that. Like like a little toddler running around the middle of the field most of the time, but he is a hard man to sack, and we got to him. And
he looks ridiculous in that helmet. I can't. Every time he came on the screen, it just looked like someone's child wearing like their dad's NFL helmet.
It really does.
And every time he runs as well, it's like, you remember the cartoon Speedy Gonzales, where you can't see the feet. It's like I had to keep double checking like the game I was watching to be like, has my internet gone weird? Like, has it
sped up?
Is it sped up? But no, it's just the way his feet move. But we said on the last pod, the key to success for this is containing Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
and we did
that.
Our sack count. So we had Devin Witherspoon 0.5, EJ 0.5, Drake Thomas got his sack, Josh Jobe 0.5, 2 for Chenna, and a sack and a half for Leonard Williams.
I mean, when you're seeing names like Witherspoon and Josh Jobe adding their names to the sack list is great scheming by Mike Mack, and clearly he wanted to get those speedy, like our speedy guys on the outside to contain somebody like Murray. I mean, we did let him run amok a little bit in the last quarter, and he, again, desperation, just running for his life. What they were designed. It was just there. He took the space, but to keep him contained for 90% of the game is what you need to do to beat the Cardinals. And it was a great game plan for, again, probably for 97% of the game, we played an unbelievable an unbelievable game on defense. It was just some things hurt us big.
Yeah, they did big time. A couple of comments come in. So Hawk Skull, Kyler is the world's fastest toddler.
He is.
Yeah. So here we go. Ben, UK 12th man. Kyler is Roadrunner. I just hear meep meep every time he runs.
Yeah.
So again from Ben, sacks from all three levels last night.
Yeah, really
fantastic to see. That just shows the depth of McDonald's playbook when it comes to the fact that he can get pressure from any level. And then Rich has come in to say, I'm so glad Kyler isn't RQB.
Yeah, Kyler's a weird one, isn't he? I mean, I think he could maybe thrive somewhere. I just think he's a bit small, and I don't think his focus is on football. I know that sounds weird, but he just doesn't seem locked. Yeah, he just doesn't seem locked in. Just doesn't seem like that's what he wants to do. Like even when they were like coming back last night, I never saw like whether it's just him trying to be like cool, calm, collected, but I never see any passion from Kyler. The only time I ever see anything from him is like a whingy, unhappy face. Like, oh.
Do you know, it strikes me like one of those, like he was drafted first overall. He thought, I'm going to change this franchise. And in the, 7 years it is, he's been in the NFL. 7 years. He hasn't done anything with that. That franchise is like, they drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. And obviously that's not going great, but he just seems to be at that point where he's just like, I'm a QB in the NFL for the Arizona Cardinals. Like if someone asked him his job, you can imagine the first thing he'd do is go, big sigh, I'm a QB for the Arizona Cardinals. And they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Nah, I'd rather be at home playing COD. Get paid for that. Here we go, Hawk Skull. Kyler only plays for the Cardinals because the Lollipop Guild don't have a franchise. Right.
Bless him.
So
bless him.
Let's get on to, we've spoken a lot about Kyler there. Let's get on to this is my favorite segment. I love this because it always creates debate. And anyone in the comments, by all means, let us know your thoughts on this. Winners and losers. So let's go one for one. You do one, I'll do one. So, Dom, give me your first.
Winner. I'm gonna go Zach Charbonnet as my first winner. And it's because I was so tempted to make K9 a loser. And I know that sounds harsh. And I love K9. I got a jersey. I was on the last podcast, I was wearing a Kenneth Walker jersey. But there's something wrong with him this season. And it's not necessarily him, but the issues that we had in this game were because we could not get that ball moving on first and sometimes second down when we were just trying to eat the clock, but whilst being semi-aggressive and gaining yards. I don't know what is wrong with Kenneth Walker because he looks like he's built like an absolute brick S-house and he looks like he should be able to run through everything, but he can't run through wet tissue. Honestly.
You're taking everything I'm about to say about my loser.
Okay, sorry.
Talk about Charbonnet, quick.
Okay. On the flip side, because of that, Charbonnet really shows his worth in the offense for the Seahawks. If he gets like hit at the line or if he enters contact, he bulldozes it, or he at least tries to. The fourth down, it was 4th and 2. We went for it. It was a poor play call. He got swallowed and couldn't break a tackle.
It was bad blocking. Let's face it.
Yeah, bad blocking. But the thing is, you're going to get bad blocking sometimes. You also need a running back that can deal with a bad block and still run through someone's face. And Charbonnet is way more that kind of running back than K9 is. And I would say that Charbonnet is just somebody who is really valuable to us. And I think that the more as time goes on, like last season, it felt like he was becoming way more of like that 50-50 back. It was less of a 80-20, 70-30, more of a 50-50. And I was kind of like, I'm a big K9 fan. So I was like, not sure we need this, but we do. And that is the truth, like the fact that he's getting the goal line snaps, the fact that he's running through people, the fact that he's, should have had 2 touchdowns on the day. big win for Charbonnet, and I think that he's just more every week he's establishing more and more that he can carry the load. Generally speaking, whether we need him to, want him to, or whether it's the right decision, Charbonnet could be the guy that really carries the load. I think he makes less mistakes.
Yeah, 100%. And you've always listened to this podcast enough. I'm a massive Charbonnet fan, and I think he falls forward. Everything he does is forward. Even if he gets tackled behind the line, he falls. He doesn't fall backwards. He just goes forward. Or he will be that brick wall who will just stay there. He'll be like, right, I've lost a yard. I'm not losing anymore. That'll be it. Or he'll be like, I've been tackled to lose a yard, but I'm going to fall at least to get us back to 2 and 10.
Yeah.
Or 10 and 2. And he's just like, he is, for me, you've got the Detroit Lions who've got that Gibbs-Montgomery tandem, the Sonic and Knuckles, which is basically what we should have when it starts working properly. With K9 and Charbonnet.
We've got like a Make-A-Wish version compared to the Lions. And I'm not taking that away from our team because I love it, but when you look at Gibbs and Montgomery, that is like the creme de la creme of running back duos that you want, isn't it? Whereas, like you say, we do have like a B- of that, unfortunately. As much as I want to get behind them, I think equally our run blocking needs to step up a gear on first down. Like we're not aggressive enough. You need to run through people, put them on pancake them. Like you need to be making holes. Need to be.
Yeah. It needs to be more of a and this is where, and I'll talk about Ken later. This is where he's deficient in his game. Where, like I said, he is rocked up. That guy went into the off season, and I don't know what he's been eating or sleeping in, but he looks huge. However, ask him to run through. Yeah, all right, mate.
Yes, not me.
But like you ask him to run through an A or B gap, and he just can't seem to make those hard yards. He just he don't know whether it's a mentality thing or what. But Charbonnet is that back. If you go, put your head down, run through that gap. I need you to make yourself as skinny as possible to get through that 6-inch gap between your center and your guard. He'll go, all right, I'll make it work.
Yeah.
And he does every time.
Yeah, and that's the final. That's the final thing I'll say about Charbonnet as well. I feel like he does as he's told, and that sounds really, really bad. Like I don't mean like a child. No, but I think he just does. This is what you're supposed to do. Go and do it. Whereas I feel like in other areas, it's more of a I don't like that. I'll try something else, and that's hesitation will get you killed in the NFL.
Yeah, or it will lose you yards, as we'll talk about after.
Lose yards.
Yeah. My first winner, and we've already mentioned him in the show, is Mr. Uchenna Nwosu.
He's back.
That man, he's 5 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 TFLs. The first sacks from an edge rusher on the Seahawks this season.
Yeah. Okay.
All of our sacks have come from the interior or from people running from the secondary or the linebackers blitzing. It's the first sacks, and I think he was fantastic. He really showed what he can do. There was one of his sacks I absolutely loved because he was coming off sort of on the edge, and he had the left guard and the left tackle who were double teaming him because he'd been given problems. They stepped out thinking we'll just take him wide and give Carter a bit more space or give him that lane to run through. As soon as Chenna saw them step to the left, he took his own step to the left, just stepped inside them both and just zeroed in, completely unguarded, ran straight in at Kyler. And I was like, that is what we've been missing.
Yeah.
That's what I've been wanting.
Rush. Yeah.
That's what I've been wanting from Derek Hall, from Boye Mafe, because we've been causing pressure. We've been creating pressure on quarterbacks, but we've not been able to finish it with a sack. And that's the type of thing that having a vet like Chenna now coming back into the fore can start teaching these guys rather than, don't try and engage too early or for too long. If they're going to give you that space to step and go. And that's
absolutely
that for me. As soon as I saw that play, I just was like, oh God, he's back.
Yeah,
And I'm
I mean,
so happy about it.
Yeah, that was exactly right. I'm watching. I remember that because they turned the camera, didn't they, to the angle where you could see him coming this way, and he just almost like hovered slightly to the right. It's like I mean, the gold standard of that is Myles Garrett, isn't it? Where he puts his foot in the floor and basically bounces about 3 yards left and just evaporates the man on the outside. It's like it doesn't need to touch him. He's just gone. So Nwosu showed a little bit of that sort of, again, smarts meets strength. You don't need to try and get hands on your man; just go around him. And if you've got the athleticism to do so, it's amazing. It's amazing to have somebody like Nwosu just in the line. You know, like, because we've got so many now, and because we've got such talent in there. Again, underrated is just the constant. Well, like, even when I talk to the guys on In the End Zone UK pod, like that, Dave messaged me saying this morning, once he'd watched the game, he was like, "Your boys' defense is massively underrated." And even though it's getting a lot of credit now, it's just like Williams, Lawrence now, Tank's doing. He's making his presence felt, even if he's not coming up on the stat sheet. Nwosu getting into the mix with 2 sacks. Byron Murphy becoming one of the top DTs in the league at the moment. Anyway, he had a quiet game here, but you're kind of in that position. The way he plays the game, you're going to have a quiet game against Murray just because of his speed. So it's just amazing to see that we've got that breadth of versatility on the line. I think it can cause trouble for everyone.
Yeah, 100%. And it's having that, like I said, that breadth of the rotation we've got at the moment. Absolutely love seeing it. And the more we start rotating these players in, the nice bit of stash there, mate.
Sponsorship. Subliminal advertising. This is a really nice In the End Zone UK drink.
But I see in that rotation, and obviously all of our pressure and all of our sacks have come through the middle. It's going to get to a point, and I said this last week, where people really start concentrating on the middle of our interior D line, and that's where it's all going to start coming from the edges.
Exactly. And then what do you do?
Exactly. And then you've got to focus on, is there a safety blitz coming? Is there a cornerback blitz? Where's it all going to come from? And it's when it all starts coming together properly. And I think Sherm said on, I think it was his show, or it was on the Amazon Prime, the NFL Prime show. He said when Emanwari gets back, Mike Mack has catered so many looks towards him that we're going to see some exotic, fantastical things coming forward.
Honestly,
if this is how we're playing without him, and you think that might be what quarter of that defensive playbook that's just currently sitting,
dormant,
injured, dormant. Yeah. When he comes back, I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Talking just a quick one, because I did want to talk about Emanwari. Not that he obviously has played yet, apart from like a single play in the first game. But I was going to ask you the question actually before I say how I feel in relation to Emanwari, because our defense is playing so well at the moment. Kobe's obviously playing amazing. Josh Jobe, we're doing great things. How do you feel about Emanwari coming back into the fold, having missed now 4 games? Like, are you chomping at the bit to just get him in and get him reps? Or are you thinking, ease him in? Because at the start of the season, I was like, throw him in. Let's see what he's got. Who knows how this defense is going to operate? Year 2, he's going to need to be very technical with his mind to get on with his Mike Mack defense. And I was like, just get him in. Now I'm like, we're really playing quite well. I'm not sure how much exposure I would give him, but maybe that's me just being super reserved, and most people want us to just see him smash.
If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. But I think we're going to start seeing him in, based on how Tyrese Knight's playing at the moment. I think we'll see him coming in some will linebacker packages, maybe in the sub linebacker, trying to slot him in where we can, having some 3 safety looks in there, where he will end up sliding up and down the field from the secondary into the middle of that field. So I think it'll be one of those where Mike Mack will start gradually putting him in with the defense playing as it is. Don't fiddle with it too much.
Yeah.
But we'll start seeing some of these exotic looks where he comes in, get him some game time, but he won't be in there for like 75% of defensive snaps.
Sure.
I reckon you'll see him about sort of 40% for the first few weeks till he gets really acclimatized and things start clicking with him, and then you'll probably see him progressing, and it'll go up to sort of like your 40 from 50 to sort of 70, and then we'll have our base defense set with the right players then.
Yeah, that's the way that I want to see it happen. So yeah, let's hope
I think Mike Mac's savvy enough that he's not just going to chuck him in there and be like, there you go. True. You are now our defense. But give me your second winner.
So my second winner, we'll just talk about Sam Darnold, I guess, because we opened the pod sort of glowing about him, and MVP conversations can, in my opinion,
I'm clipping that up.
Can sort of continue, just continue them quietly in the background for me for now. 4 games in, all I want to see is progression. That's what I want from him. But I mean, if you look at what he's done just this year so far and what he was doing last year at the Vikings, you said that you heard Colin Cowherd talking about Sam Darnold and how he's been operating. But I think he mentioned in there as well that this is his 7th game-winning drive in the last 2 seasons, and the only other person to have done that is Patrick Mahomes. And it's like, and I know Mahomes is not operating to that level at the moment, but he is that level. He's he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But to have those stats just don't come in by chance. You don't win 7 game-winning drives by chance. You don't have phenomenal passer ratings and are protecting the ball for the most part very, very well by chance. You don't throw rolling out to your left across your body by chance. You don't drop dimes to AJ Barner by chance. Like what we're now seeing, I believe, is the real Sam Darnold, and I hope that we don't, and the play calling doesn't get too cocky with it. I think this is his wheelhouse. I think that he is comfortable within this offense when he's asked to throw the ball 26 times a game. The only way that that goes awry is if you're massively chasing, but I don't think our defense will allow us to become in a particular blowout very frequently. We've got some good offenses to play in the coming few weeks, but overall, Sam Darnold is an operator. He showed it against the Vikings. He's showing it now. Sammy the Slinger. That's a great nickname. Yeah. We could give him that. But yeah, I'm just very happy and seeing what's happening with Geno at the moment. Geno's having a reasonable time, but when you throw him for 242 yards in this game, QB rating of 111, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He's just being efficient, and that's what you need in this offense. Just efficiency. Don't be flash.
That is all you need. You don't need someone who's going to throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, because in a scheme defensively and offensively like this, the defense is there just to snuff out the opponent's offense, and then you just let your offense, and we said this at the start of the season, control the clock, short intermediate routes, be efficient, and then just march it down the field and get your 1-2 touchdowns a game. As long as your defense is doing their job, you are fine. And then you've got a kicker, which we'll talk about in a minute. So have you seen Darnold's stats for the year so far?
No, give them to me. I mean, I will have done, but I've definitely forgot.
4 games played, 905 yards thrown, 5 passing downs, 2 interceptions, a completion percentage of 70%. He's got an offensive quarterback rating of 106.5. He's got 38 rushing yards, no rushing touchdowns, obviously, and he's only been sacked 6 times. I put this on social media earlier. The fact that he's only been sacked 6 times is a huge credit to him and his pocket presence, being able to roll out and escape the pressure coming in his face, which we saw again in this game.
He's escaped a few over the last few weeks, hasn't he?
And also our O-line, trying to keep him as clean as possible.
Yeah.
I need to put Bradford in my losers column, because I saw him and Sundell get swum past by Calais Campbell for 1 sack. And I just thought, oh God, it's happening again. Bradford's on the downward slope. But then the rest of the game, brilliant. He has that two-handed absolute pancake on Wilson, the linebacker.
Yeah.
Where Wilson just ran at him and Bradford just went, nope. And pushed him back onto his butt and then just for good measure, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to fall on you as well." And that for me encapsulates how well this O-line's playing, and that's keeping Darnold upright, and it's making him play these fantastic games. I love that as a winner.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, pass protection. Pass protection has been a real strong suit of this O-line so far this year. Run blocking needs a bit of improvement, but I mean ultimately, pass protection is allowing Sam to have the time to do what he needs to do. But he's just so accurate with that ball, and his accuracy is, people have come for his accuracy over the last few years. Oh, he's a play action deep passer. He's not that accurate. He's this, that, and the other. I mean, man, it's proof is in the tape. Like that,
proving him wrong
accurate.
now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is accurate when he's throwing to receivers that can run well-timed, crisp routes like JSN. He showed it last year with Justin Jefferson, which is different gravy ultimately with Jefferson, but it just shows you he can put that ball where it needs to be. It just needs to be schemed right. He's been in the wrong schemes, being asked to do far too much for the Jets and the Panthers, and now he's in a scheme that just plays complementary football for the most part.
Yeah. Well, you by mentioning JSN, you've led me on to one of my winners very nicely.
Mm-hmm.
JSN is in the winner column. Last week I put him very tongue-in-cheek in the loser column for not being able to get 6 yards to get a ton.
Yeah,
but
that's more on the coaching. They should have thrown him in. Just give him one more catch.
Yeah, one more catch, that would have been it. But this week, his stats, and I had to double check this: 3 carries for 11 yards, so an average of 3.7 yards per carry, which is better than Zach Charbonnet, who only had 3.3. Receiving 4 receptions for 79 yards, average of 17.8. The touchdowns aren't there at the moment. That's off 5 targets as well. Like his longest was that 36-yard sort of toss down the right hash, which was a thing of beauty. Oh yeah, JSN this year, for anyone who doubted him, he's showing that he has the potential to be spoken about in that top 5 wide receiver in the league category. Just his efficiency, like I said, his crispy route running. He's not good at the numbers when it comes to touchdowns, but he's winning games.
He is. Yeah.
He's
winning games. Yeah.
He's putting the yards up to win games. He's a reliable receiving option for his quarterback, who's a first-year quarterback in the franchise. He's become a leader in this wide receiver room. I'm glad that we won the game, and he had a good game, because otherwise there was no way he'd be able to stand up on that podium wearing that cowboy hat yesterday. But
I rated that.
I did a Louis Vuitton cowboy hat from Spain.
I rated that. I rated that a lot. I was like, that is a nice cowboy hat.
It's a hell of a fit.
I really want a cowboy hat, but you just can't do it in the UK.
I couldn't put it off. My head's too big. Like my 10-gallon hat would end up being like down here, like one of those comedy sombreros. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I had JSN there as my second winner. I just thought, and it's continuing every single week. He's just showing exactly what he can do.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, to understand that he was, I think, did he have 0 catches in the first half?
0. So there you go.
Look at that. There we go.
Great. 0 targets in the first half, and all his receiving stats came in key second half plays.
Yeah, I mean,
and then that one catch, in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, you can't say anything better. They schemed against him as well. Like, it was obvious, like that. They schemed against him to take him out of the game. They did for the first half, and they did for the majority of it. Those big catches and those clutch catches came in moments where we had to rely on him. He is reliable, and Sam kind of had to semi-force it towards him. He had other options, throughout the game, so he didn't have to throw it to him, and that's going to happen. It's going to happen when you're playing at that level. People are going to clock onto it. Defensive schemes are going to try and take players like him out. And they did for the most part, but he still found his way to do what we needed to do to get the win and to put up those yards. The only thing with JSN, and I hate to be like I'm always like, it could be this, but it's for me, like, it's touchdowns. Like, I know he had one last week, but it's touchdowns, like, just to find that end zone a little bit more regularly. I wonder why, because it's the same thing last year. I wonder why he doesn't find the end zone as as frequently as maybe some of those squads. When you say he's looking like a top five receiver, when you talk about the other people in that sort of conversation that would be in that top five conversation, like the Chasers, the Jeffersons, maybe, I don't know, Nico Collins, probably not at the moment. But when you talk about those types of players, Tyreek Hill, I guess, maybe not now either, but they score the touchdowns. Like they back it up not only just with yards, but with the 6 points. And if there was any kind of critique, it'd just be, why is JSN not finding the house a little bit more regularly?
Yeah, I agree with that. All I can put it down to is the fact that he's heavily utilised in these prolonged drives. And by the time you've slung it to him 2 or 3 times on a drive, he is going to be double or triple covered. But that just opens up someone else. That's all I can think when I need to sort of deep dive into the tape just to see exactly what happens on these drives. That's all I can think of. But
we've got a comment saying it's because he's not often the first read in the red zone.
There you go.
Which
he's on it.
Yeah.
Flag football player, knows what he's on about.
There you go.
First
looking for the bigger bodies in the red zone, I guess.
And we've got enough of them now.
Yeah, we do.
Right. So, who is your third and final winner before we start moving? Well, I'll do one more winner and then we'll move on to our losers.
Jason Myers could have very quickly become a loser, but I am saying that for a kicker to miss a field goal like he did, which made things a lot more difficult for the team, and then trot out with seconds to go and nail a 54 or 52?
Yeah, something like that.
54, 52.
Over
50 plus anyway. Nail a 50-plus yarder after inhaling all of those salts that he was doing.
I thought they were banned.
So they are
banned by the league.
This is the weird rule. They're banned by the league if they're provided by the league. If you bring them from home, good to go.
Oh, cool. So
can you believe that?
Yeah,
that's enough. No, you can't buy your Class A drugs on site.
Your team can't buy them for you. But if you want to go to a gym and speak to Billy Bob, who's lifting massive weights, who'll supply them for you.
Yeah, and tuck them inside your uniform for the moments that matter the most. You're allowed to use them, yeah.
Well, I mean, crack on. I mean, we've seen Baker Mayfield put in like what they call Zyn pouches and stuff in. Like, if you're going to supply them yourself, you earn enough money, go for it. And it worked. So that's the main thing.
I kind of want one before a podcast one day and see what happens.
My eyes would be rattling.
I've never done
You've never done smelling salts. Oh, they're awful. My mate used to do them before rugby. And I remember once he was like, have some of this. And he had it in, he didn't have like the little things. He had like a big old pot of it.
Yeah.
And he'd literally open it, sniff it, and be like, good to go. And he'd have like crackhead energy. Yeah. And I made the mistake of sitting next to him in a locker room one day, and it was like, what is that? It was like, smelling salts, mate. I'm like, you don't look right. He'd be like, have a whiff of that. And I opened it. I was like, I think I've got small eyes anyway, but I think they went to like normal size. And I was just ready to go. So I don't know what that would have done for J-My yesterday. But his leg must have felt like a rocket.
Yeah. I mean, whatever happened, whatever it did to him, I'm really glad it did. And more than that, smelling salts aside, it's just to have that resolve of coming back. He must have been feeling the pressure having missed one. And then to know that the game, all of these emotions, obviously having played competitive sports myself for 10, 12 years and playing rugby, like all of those, it's not quite the same because you don't necessarily get that situational.
It's not momentary, it's continuous
moment.
With rugby.
Yeah, with rugby. I was a 10 though, but I did use to place kick, and that did used to sometimes get to me. But I know.
It's basically a footballer on a rugby pitch.
Luxury. Yeah. I did the normal. I started at 14 and worked in 13, 12, 10, but I finished at 10. And the only thing I can sort of relate to is, place kicking in rugby. And it is when you miss one, it's a head thing. And when it comes down to final kick of the game, you're in a position, and this is the thing that I'd been in myself as well, just nowhere near the pressure. When you know that you should be winning that game, like he must have been stood there going, we should be winning this game. There's no way that we deserve to lose it. So there's almost like that expectation of pressure of come on,
Well,
get this kick.
also, we should already be ahead because I've already missed one.
Yeah. So there's that. And so it's like, come on, make this kick. And he stepped up. It was a bit of a wobbler, and it made my heart do crazy things at that time in the morning. I think I actually saw it come out of my chest for a moment. And then it flew through the post, and I was honest, the relief. I was just like, oh, Jason Myers. Which is just an odd thing to do when you're in bed.
We did have in our Discord, someone was like, I think I'm buying a Myers jersey now. It's like, you go, sir. Kickers are people too, which was nearly the name of this pod.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That would have been a good name. That would have been a good name. But yeah, so Jason Myers is getting it. I mean, just to have that clutch, just to have that resolve, to come back from a little bit of adversity in the game, nail a 50-pluser. He's always, I mean, I think 85% or 86% in his career. He's nailed a lot from long distance. He's almost automatic between sort of 30 and 45. He did well. Good on him.
No, massive respect for that. But a bit of a shout from Jonas here. J. Meyer is only allowed to kick from the left hash from now on.
Fair.
Yeah, there'll be some stats involved behind that as well. Right, my last winner, we'll get through this before we get to the losers. My last winner is Drake Thomas.
Yeah.
He doesn't get spoken about enough. And there's so much said about, and I think we've said it on our pod as well, that we seem really deficient in middle linebacker depth. But every time Drake Thomas has stepped up, he's never made like glaring mistakes. And this game, you look at he had the sack, he had the tackle that led to the EJ interception as well. He looked pretty solid around the park every time he's come on. I think he deserves a bit of praise for that. I just wanted to shine the light on Drake Thomas because we picked him up from the Raiders practice squad. He's been either practice squad or a reserve for us, and he's always doing well.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll star this from Bryce. He's asked a question that we'll answer after.
Okay, cool. But yeah, no, I agree. And it's one of those just to have somebody who can step in, who's essentially depth, but then can make an impact is you can't ask for more from a player like that. You know, you're not asking him to be Bobby Wagner. You know, you're not asking him to be that leader in the middle of the field. But when he comes in, no mistakes. That's all you want. Don't make a mistake. Do your job. And that's what he did. And in this game, you can say that he did more than that because he had a sack, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, adding that to the mix, a tackle for a loss, a sack, 5 total tackles. So, and he had a pass defended as well.
And this is that's if you can bring someone into a rotation like that, perfect. I'm happy with that. I think the coaching staff like him as well because he just gets his head down, does the job. Now, we've spoken about winners a lot, and I really want to get to losers.
Okay.
Because I've seen your loser.
You have.
And this will generate some conversation.
Uh-oh.
Because I can guarantee, before I even mention this, any of our regular viewers that are watching will know by the smile on my face who you are going to talk about.
Yep.
And do you want to go?
Should I say his name? Dare I? I mean, I've listened to you for a while as well, Josh, and I know that this is right up your street. And it's not normally mine, and I'm not saying that I'm a huge fan. Is it Reek Woolen? It absolutely is Reek Woolen, and I'm saying he's our loser this week. And yeah, at the open of the pod, I did say how hard it is to defend against a team that is in desperation mode. However, do your job. Do your job, and that's where I find Reek Woolen consistently falls down. He just doesn't do his job. He's got all the intangibles. He's got the physical elements. He's long. He's rangy. He is so incredibly quick. He seems like he's the type of player that wants to improve. And I quite like listening to him when he talks about stuff. He seems like a fairly well put together young gentleman, but he makes these absolute wallop plays on very frequently. And for as good as he is, he's as bad as he is, and I can't get around that. And when you're looking at the start of this season, there was some people saying pay Reek, you know, like he's going to need paying soon, and it's like he's going to need to know his worth, and his worth is not a top tier corner in this league. If we could retain him for medium money, we absolutely should. I don't think we should let him necessarily walk. You know, the system is a hard system to get used to. It's his second year in it. I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice to not try and keep hold of him. But these mistakes have just got to stop, man. Like he needs to be far less handsy. He doesn't need to be. When you're that rangy, he's got arms like Mr. Tickle. Like if his arm, if his arms are twice the length of mine, which they look, he doesn't need to get hands on. You'll be able to find that ball or play the hands when you need to. It's like fundamentals of a corner. I think he gets scared, and it's like you don't need to be scared. You're faster than most people on the pitch, if not everybody. You're rangier than they are. Just stick with your man, be sticky, and just and if that pass is made, if it's completed on you, so be it. Okay, like if you're there, sticky coverage, and he makes an amazing catch, which has also happened to him. Fair, you know, you sort of go, fair enough. He was there, should have maybe made a play on the ball. But when you're like those two PIs that he had on
the
him,
DPI stuff,
awful. It's unforgivable, Josh. It's unforgivable. And I was fuming. Obviously, at that point, I'm like, can I please go to sleep yet? And it's like, no, Dom, you are going to have to wait a few more agonizing minutes whilst Reek Woolen puts his hands all over a wide receiver at 3rd and 14 on a deep shot prayer ball from Kyler Murray, where he literally closes his eyes, winds up, lobs it. Kyler Murray does that far too often for me. Like that's why he's never, in my eyes, going to be anywhere near a top tier quarterback. But those prayer balls are hard to cover. But what you don't do is put hands on at that stage of the game, at that down and distance, spot foul at a PI.
It's half distance to the goal line.
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
It's 2 of them he had this game. He had the face mask as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
and
Paul.
Yeah, there's a comment that we'll come to on our Discord member musings in a bit, and I've time-stamped this just so I can answer it accurately. You said you wanted to have sticky coverage, and I agree with his length, his range, his speed. Being sticky should be fine. His issue comes, and I've analysed this after my many like diatribes about him.
Yeah.
His issue comes in physicality. He doesn't have the confidence in his physicality to be accurately aggressive. So go back to rugby terms, when you tackle someone, it's all controlled aggression and it's pointed aggression. How you tackle someone, how you don't lift them up over the horizontal, spear tackle them, all that stuff, and making sure you hit them right, hit them hard enough. Reek doesn't know how to do that. He doesn't have the confidence in himself to be accurately aggressive. He's just flailing up, like I said, Mr. Tickle, flailing arms.
Yeah.
And I've called him out multiple times now, and people always stick up for him in every comment on every bit of social media I put out about Reek. But one day people will listen and actually look at tape. I've called him out multiple times for hands to the face mask at the line of scrimmage because he can't sink his hips. DPIs now as well, where there was no need for any of those.
No, there really wasn't.
He just gets overly aggressive for no reason because he doesn't know where that line is and how to control it. If he took a quarter step off someone and got his hand out where the ball is, he wouldn't have that issue. If he tracked a ball when it was actually coming over his shoulder properly, as opposed to tracking it too early and completely losing a receiver, he'd be efficient. But he doesn't have the baseline of being a solid NFL corner to do that. And it's getting to a point where it's indefensible. Yes. People will just constantly wax lyrical about his rookie season, give him time, look at his measurables. We're in year 4. It's a contract year for him. And he's still not got that down. He's had all that time injured where he should be learning the basics of the position, and he still hasn't learned it. I'll say it
I
again.
agree.
I'm over it. And just quickly here, like Bryce from like the Hawks Eye podcast, 2026 Seahawks secondary, Spoon, Job, Kendrick.
So I mean, yeah, Bryce has said exactly what I was about to say, or has alluded to that fact. In times gone past, we've not really had an answer to be able to say, well, who else? You know, that, and that's been sort of Reek's saving grace, is that like, okay, well, who's better? Whereas now you've got Job, Kendrick stepping up, showing that they can do it when our starters have been injured, and playing better football than he's played when he's supposed to be like the number one corner with Witherspoon out and Love. And now you've got to look at it and go, well, actually, would you rather play Job there and have Reek come in, you know, rather infrequently, or Reek backing him up? Would you rather have Kendrick there? I don't quite think so, but either of them.
Give Kendrick time in this system. You never know.
That's it. You never know. And that's the thing, is now either one of those now becomes a potential suitor outside of Reek Woolen. And I didn't think I would necessarily say that, because, you know, I think he's a specimen of sorts, albeit a very fast Mr. Tickle, let's say. But I think he is a specimen that with the right control, like you say, controlled aggression, could be incredible, but it's just not there.
No, it's not at all. I can't go. We'll be on this pod for another half hour if I carry on going down that rabbit hole. Let's go on to my loser, and then we'll go on to our Discord member musings. My loser is K9, and you alluded to it earlier.
Yeah.
And I am going to do it now. 19 attempts for 81 yards, could have been 100 yards, and I've written this in capital in my notes. If he stopped running backwards.
Yes.
Because
please stop running backwards.
We said it before. He sees what could be a half gap, and rather than going for that half gap and falling forward for a yard, he goes, I'm just going to pull out of there, circumvent it, and try. I'll go back 5 yards and see if I can find a space on the outside. Oh, weirdly enough, these NFL caliber edges see the fact you're doing that, and they meet you in the backfield, and you get a tackle for loss.
Yeah.
So now, rather than it being 1st and 10, it's 2nd and 15.
Yeah.
It's so infuriating, because he could be 100-yard back every single game.
Absolutely.
But he something needs to, like a switch needs to be flicked in his head to say, look, Ken, if a big gain isn't there, take what's available.
It's okay. Yeah. He just needs somebody whispering in his ear, doesn't he? Arm around the shoulder, just going, it's all right, Ken. 2 yards is better than -7.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what he needs. And unfortunately in this game, again, watching it live and in real time, some of those bounces off, spin moves into the backfield, getting blown up, they were super costly mistakes, man. They were errors that really put us on the back foot. We're lucky, and it's wild to say, but we're lucky that Sam Darnold is operating and seems unflappable in situations where he's sort of second and long. But unfortunately, we're asking too much of Sam Darnold, even though he's only passing the ball 26 times, whatever. We are still asking too much of Sam Darnold, and we are, again, fortunate that we've, in the last couple of weeks, played teams that are not particularly top caliber. You know, the Saints, the Cardinals. You don't get away with that against a defense. You know, against a team, you don't get away with it against the Ravens. You don't get away with it against the Bills. You don't get away with it against the Eagles, the Packers. You don't get away with those things. We got away with it. And K9 needs to learn real quick that either going for no yards or 1 yard is far more important than going for -3 because you're trying to make something happen. Because, as you say, if there's a gap there, he flies through it. But it's so infrequent because we're playing NFL football that there is an open hole, you know, very, very infrequently. If he's got one, he's one of the best. I genuinely believe if he's got one, he's one of the best backs in the league to hit an open gap, because he's one of the quickest. He's shifty. When he's one-on-one, spinning, rolling, jumping, hurdling, that stuff works. Going to swear again. That stuff really works. But when he's got to break an arm tackle, he just thuds to the ground or runs backwards, and it's like you got to coach that out of him. That's got to happen, and that's why Charbonnet got my winner, because Charbonnet does what he's told. He'll break an arm tackle, or he'll at least try.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. I mean, we've come to that point in the show, which is one of my favourites as well. I've got a lot of favourites in this show. It's mine, Mitch's show. We like this. I just want to say thanks to everyone for joining. If you are viewing either by X, as I can see some of you are, or by YouTube, if you want to head over to our YouTube, click like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you can. Really, really helps the show. Like this video as you can, because it helps us reach more 12s. And we're a 12s podcast by 12s, for 12s, with 12s. Our purpose is to get 12s on the pod to talk Seahawks, much like Dom from In the End Zone UK doesn't get to talk Seahawks very often because he has to talk about the rest of the league. But we have guests, as you may know, from all over the world, and we want to keep increasing that as well. The more people we get, the more and more there will be different voices on here. And if you want to hear different voices, you can head into our YouTube, into our Discord as well. The link is in the comments down below, and you can talk to 12s from everywhere. During game day, during the week, we have multiple conversations that are happening at the moment. Big ones talking about the London games. And just a very quick comment from Jonas. If I can send one episode not ranting about Woolen, he'll buy me a beer in London. And he's meeting us for the Rams game. Challenge accepted, Jonas. Right. With that, should we get onto our Discord member musings?
Absolutely.
So, as some of you who watch us will know, we are the UK Seahawkers official podcast. Very proud to be. You can join the UK Seahawkers for £12 for the year, or £20 for a family of 4 at the same address. If you're outside the UK, it's £5 per membership. For the goodies you'll be posted, you get access to social events, members only contests and prizes. You'll be eligible for game day field passes as well. You get 10% off at the pro shop. And you get your annual goodies, which this year, I'm displayed on Mitch's fabulous box here, is your customary wristband. We got 2 coasters. We got a 21st year anniversary badge, and you also get your membership card. And then you can join these fine people here. This was our meetup in Glasgow, as well as many, many more as a UK Seahawker. But now, Discord member musings. Now, what we'll do, we'll take these one by one. Every time it comes a question, you can answer the first one, Dom. I'll answer the next one. The first 2, and this is why I've got the timestamp. Oh, no. This is where they're not going to work. It's typical. If you do a live pod, let's see if we can get these to work quickly.
No worries. Whilst you're doing that, I've got a bit of interesting news. I've booked tickets to go watch the Seahawks in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh.
It's November the 23rd, I think. And I love Nashville, and I've just booked to get out there for that game. So I just thought I'd throw that one out there. I'm gonna do a live pod whilst I'm out there. But I've been to the Nashville Nissan Stadium before. I watched the Titans play the Patriots, but now I'm gonna go and watch the boys.
Mate, that'll be mega. I expect many, many photos, and for you to tell us how that is. Right. So because typically my slideshow isn't working, I'm going to venture into our Discord. And what I'll do, actually, let's see if I can share that with everyone. So you're going to see what goes on in our Discord. There we go. So welcome to the 12 Talk Discord. You may not be able to read this, but we have got... Let's get down to it. Right, there we go. Danny, at what point in the pod is Josh going to lose his SH1T about Reek? And then the Roo. Before the intro. I'll have you know, it was 1 hour 13 into the pod. There you go. Yeah, have some of that.
Somebody guessed before the intro. That was cheap.
I said no comment. Actual question from Danny. Fave play of the season so far as Coach Mike. said Sharps' TD with Cross's help was his fave. Go on, Don. What was your favourite play so far this year?
This year, I would probably say JSN's touchdown. I think against the Saints. I think it just sort of everything kind of came together at that point. It showed what Sam Darnold can do, the rollout, the throw on the run, the across his body. It was JSN getting his first touchdown after putting up many yards. I think that for me was just like, okay, this is an offense that you need to really be watching out for. And I think, yeah, just that gelling and finding that chemistry was what I really wanted to see.
Nice. And then we've got, I'll take this one. Did the Seahawks take their foot off the gas too early? Or is it more of a problem? Than that? Now I'm going to put my glasses on to read these now. So, I'm 41 on Sunday. Leave me be.
Happy birthday, Josh.
Thank you very much. We said it earlier in the pod. We seemed to take our foot off the gas in the second half, and they came back in the fourth quarter. I don't think it's more of a problem than that. I think it was just a matter of they weren't getting anything on us. And then in the last quarter, they decided to pump it up. And, you got the TD, which was over Spoon's head. And then you got the one from DeMarcado, which was just a nice sort of swing route out. You can't do a lot with that.
I wouldn't say it was a gas. I wouldn't say it was a foot off the gas thing. I think, as I say, I think it was playing a team that was desperate and calls went against us that shouldn't have. If Charbonnet had rolled in for the touchdown that should have been, there's no gas coming off there. So, no.
We've then got Danny coming in. Can I have another question, please? How much did we miss Oots today? Mark's gone lots. Russell lined up in the fullback spot a few times, but nowhere as much impact. Which
I agree. I agree massively because I know you're a big fan of Oots, and I too am now a big fan of Oots. And when we drafted him, I did my standard procedure of going and watching all the tape possible of college prospect, and now watching him flat pack two people at the same time is just special. And I think that we massively missed him, and I think that we're going to miss him whilst he's on IR. I think that was maybe some of the reason why Ken Walker went backwards a bit more frequently than he needed to. But equally, it's just somebody he's not afraid to go through anybody. So if somebody's going to pound that hole for you, follow him. And I think we're going to miss that.
Yeah, as well. And also, I don't think Charbonnet's TD would have been such an effort if Oots was there.
Agreed.
So, what are our thoughts on the flag against JSM for the disallowed Charbonnet TD?
It was harsh.
It was really harsh. It's one of those where, and we know this as ex-rugby players, you don't argue with the ref. You can't change you can't change what they say. If they say it was a hold or offensive play interference, whatever. Yeah. The coach will challenge it. Yeah. But there's nothing we can do about it. So what I think has no bearing on anything. I'm not going to get embroiled in that because I've seen too much of it on social media.
What I do agree with was the way that JSN, because he didn't say it to the referee, he just said it to the world and walked past him.
That stank eye from the ref was I have used that same stank eye many times with my 5-year-old when she says something to me or does something, and I'm just like bombastic side eye.
It was perfect.
It was. Right, so from Fab, there have been a lot of standout players so far this season, some which perhaps were unexpected. Which player has surprised you the most, and who do you feel as being underrated? Could be the same person.
Is this for you or for me?
No, you can have this one as the guest, mate.
So which players surprised me the most, or which one's underrated?
Could be the same person.
Yeah, okay. I mean, look, the word underrated has come up many times on the pod so far today. I think player that surprised me the most this year so far has been probably Josh Jobe. I think he's looked really, really good. I won't call him underrated because I don't think many people knew he was, but I think he surprised me the most. Underrated, Leonard Williams, big cat. I think Big Cat is so underrated, man. Like he's underrated on Madden. He's underrated by his peers. He's underrated just in general. Like I think he was number 100 on the top 100 this year, and he's come out swinging, and he's just an animal. It's in his name, Big Cat. He is an animal, and I don't know why people aren't talking about him more in this game. For instance, he had 1.5 sacks.
And a half.
He was in the backfield a lot. He just doesn't. He's just always there. I think he's such an underrated player. Like, does not get the props that he deserves in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, 100%. He's not the new shiny toy. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And, he's a vet. He's 31, 32.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we all see. I think the national media is starting to see now.
Yeah.
Where are we now? So, are you surprised or encouraged by Mike Mack's lack of frustration with the win yesterday? So much sloppiness, but he truly seems encouraged with the amount of fight instead of annoyed by the mistakes. Speaking from a coaching point of view, yes, I'm encouraged because, and this is the Fast and the Furious sort of quote going to come out: a win's a win. And if you can, it's all well and good being the coach of a team that blows teams out week in, week out, because that's easy. When you coach a team that has got the fight to win what is a really close game towards the end, that is, from a personal coaching standpoint, that's a much better thing to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that is that has gone wrong, you can work on. But you celebrate the wins, and everything else keeps yourself working on it in the background and then improve on it. So I'm encouraged by it. I think he's such a nice level-headed coach. Doesn't show too much emotion, shows some, but not too much, which I really, really like.
I agree. I think he's got a notepad and pen in his back pocket that he'll get to on Monday, which is a different kettle of fish. But he did the right thing in his post-game, interviews and talks to the team. He celebrated the win, and that's what you've got to do.
Yeah, I'm super conscious of time now because this has been a long pod. I've absolutely loved it, but there are a few here that we'll probably finish with Jonas's one because Jonas likes to write a paragraph just to annoy me now, I feel.
Okay.
So, looking at McDonald's track record of replacing players who do not perform, do you think Knight and Woolen might be on the chopping block as starters? Drake Thomas had more snaps against Arizona because he played well, and I can see a cornerback trio of Spoon, Jobe outside with Kendrick as the nickel. Jonas, you wrote that before Bryce did. Do you want to go? You go for this one first, Dom, and then I'll chip in after.
Okay. I'll be nice and quick with this one. My answer is no. I don't think Mike McDonald is going to cut his nose off to spite his face too early. I think that he's going to give these players chance to redeem and or just improve in that team. That we are. I mean, when we talk about Reek, he's had enough time at Seattle to prove what he's got to do, but he's not necessarily had enough time under Mike Mack to get whatever he needs to get. Equally, if you're talking about Knight, he's not had anywhere near as much time, nor was the expectation that high where we drafted him. So I think that he's doing a reasonable job for where he's at. I think that Knight would probably be more weirdly, but I think he'll have more pressure on him because Mike Mack loves a linebacker. But I don't know. I don't think that he's going to make any drastic changes. No, I think it's going to be keep learning.
It rolls in very well to a question from Bryce from the Hawks Eye. Question is, what is going on with Knight? I just think he's had that injury. He's getting back up to speed with everything. I think the rest of the defense is playing exceptionally around him. And unfortunately, it's showing where he was drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Let's face it. And he played fantastic last year when the whole defense was coming up to a level, whereas this season they've already started at that level that he reached and they're now exceeding it. So I think it's just going to take it'll be a slower sort of slope of improvement for Knight. I think that's all it is. I think he'll still come good, but yeah, that's where it is. And I'm just going to say very quickly, Ben, I'm not going to scroll down on that Discord channel anymore because there is a meme that I put of me crying because everyone seems to write massive paragraphs because they delight in me having to try and read them because I have to put these huge glasses on every single week. With that, though, I think we've done a bang-up job there. I just want to say a massive thank you, Dom. For stepping in, being my co-host. You're always welcome back. We're more than happy to always do these crossovers because I love giving you the opportunity to talk Seahawks and just to chat to you.
And I love the opportunity to talk Seahawks and talk to somebody who is as passionate about it, even more so maybe than I am, which is a rarity in my world. But no, I've really, really enjoyed being Mitch for the day, albeit my beard is nowhere near as strong and I've not got as good tattoos, but I've enjoyed being the substitute Mitch for today.
Oh, we've loved having you. Before we leave, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, of course. As I said at the start of the podcast, it's at In the End Zone UK on Instagram and X. We're all over Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a Google search if you need to, but otherwise just find us on Instagram. All of our links are on there. And it's I do talk about Seahawks quite a bit on In the End Zone UK, but we also give a much broader league review, I guess, on a weekly basis, and that's what we're doing at the moment.
You do. You and the lads do a fantastic job. It's one of my first listens every time I see a new episode come up because I'm just itching for you to defend the Seahawks with the boys.
Appreciate that.
But if you guys just can't remember what Dom said, don't worry. I've put it all in the description down below. There you go. You can follow the @ on Instagram. The Spotify's there, and you can find it all on the other ones. From us, with a 12 Talk podcast, you are watching us either on X or YouTube. Head to the YouTube, like, subscribe, recommend us to your friends. Really helps us grow. You can find us on every form of social media, including Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, X. There's a Facebook group as well. There's probably some others dotted around there, but I've probably created a profile and left it. But we really appreciate everyone who's tuning in. By all means, you guys can jump into our Discord. It is completely free. The link for it is down below there. This episode will also be available on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all those other good things at some point when I can actually upload them. But I've really enjoyed tonight. I cannot wait for a little bit of a break next week. And then we have the Bucks to look forward to, which is a game I will be watching in London.
Amazing.
As I go and watch the Browns versus the Vikings. Don't blame me. My dad's a Browns fan. But if you're watching this and you are there at Tottenham and you see me, by all means, come and say hello. Whatever I'm wearing, it'll be on our social medias. Come and see me. I have got stickers to give out as well. It'd be awesome to have a little chat. I might be able to get a little interview with you as well to put on our socials. And yeah, let's have a beer. That's going to be the main thing because I'm going to
hunt Josh down.
That's it. I'm going to have to drown out the misery of watching the Browns and the Vikings. Let's face it. And the night before the game, I've actually got to go to a Browns fan meetup.
Oh, what is going on?
It's the UK. I blame my dad. My dad loves an underdog, and my dad was like, "Oh, you support the Seahawks? They're doing quite well. What team is really, really pup at the moment?" And I was like, "Well, the Browns are always pup, Dad." And he was like, "Oh, the Browns it is." So he rocks up with his Johnny Manziel jersey.
Oh,
people giving him high fives, ironically, but he doesn't think they are.
An ironic high five. That's classic.
So yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you again to Dom. Thanks for everyone for joining in. And Dom, we've got to try and finish at one point this season. I'm going to get a Go Hawks in unison.
Oh, I'll try.
Right. I'll count us down from 3.
I'm locking in.
Are you ready? Right. 3, 2, 1.
Go Hawks.
So close.
So bad.